This is the 2025 Hyundai Palisade Limited. Is it the better mid-size 3-row SUV option? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. I borrowed this Palisade from my friends at Mike Morgan Hyundai in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you want to know more, check out the link down in the description of the video. Here on the front end, you're gonna know it's a Hyundai by the grille because it's a very unique look, but it's classic to this model. I think it's nice to have something that doesn't blend in with everything else that's out there on the road. You're gonna have your Hyundai logo right there and your forward-facing camera. LED lighting, LED headlights. Now they are projector beams, but they're LEDs, so they're still gonna do a good job for you as far as illumination goes. But the thing that I really like here is the LED daytime running lights. And you can see how they start right here and they take a little bit of a break, 2 breaks right here, a little bit more right there, and then finish that cascading look all the way down. That works well. All of your sensors are gonna be here for your driving aids, all that good stuff. And for those of you that say, Tom, I am looking for a mid-size 3-row SUV, but I need all-wheel drive. I deal with a lot of snow 9 months out of the year. What are my options here? This model does come in front-wheel drive, but all-wheel drive is available. This one is front-wheel drive that we're looking at today. Now, these are the 20-inch alloy wheels. Again, that classic Hyundai look to the wheel, but I think it does a very nice job. You will find a temporary spare located in the rear of the vehicle. Turn signal indicators built into your power adjustable and heated side view mirrors. You will also find your blind spot monitoring here in the side view mirror as well. And a real quick look, let me pull the remote out so I can show you how that looks. There is your remote, everything you expect to see, and I think a lot of you want to see lock, unlock, remote start. That's a big one right there. You can open and close your power tailgate, and you also have your panic button right there. Nice large windows, easy to see out of. You're gonna have your roof rails up top, so if you want the crossbars, you can buy those and increase your cargo capabilities beyond what the rear area offers. And a very similar look here to the taillights to what we saw with the headlights. As far as the different lighting elements go, you can see what all is here. The Palisade logo will be prominently displayed here on the rear, and you can get some information right here that tells you about how to release the button right here to open the power tailgate. You can use the remote for that, the button on the tailgate, or you can also use the button on the interior. Now the one thing, and maybe I'm just showing my OCD tendencies here, if it were me, I'd better see dual exhaust on each side of the bumper just to balance things out. But I think most people are not too worried about that. For my viewers who are not interested in a turbocharged engine, good news, you don't have that here. It's a naturally aspirated 3.8 liter V6 that puts out 291 horsepower, 262 pounds-feet of torque, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And let's see about the MPGs. 19 city, 26 highway, 22 combined, 4.5 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. If you're curious to know about your gas tank size, it's 18.8 gallons. Your max towing capacity will come in at 5,000 pounds. And for those of you who might say, hey Tom, which mid-size 3-row SUV tows the most? That honor goes to the Dodge Durango with a very strong 8,700 pounds. Pretty impressive number. Under the floor, we'll find not only some additional space for storage, but the tools to change a tire if you ever need to do that, and a 12-volt power outlet right here. Now we have our controls for lowering the seats, and I like that all I have to do is push that button. The headrests automatically fold down. Notice I don't have to hold that down. A nice convenience. That's always nice to have. And you can push the buttons right here to lower the middle row seats. Now there is a little bit of a difference between these buttons in that with the rear seats, you can push those buttons again and have the rear seats come up. You will have to manually put your middle row seats back in place. Cargo capacity ranges between 18 up to 86.4 cubic feet. To save you a little bit of trouble, let me show you something very important here. I can't do this one-handed, but what I can show you is that to raise the seat backs here, you notice I can't raise that. It's not because I'm that weak. It's because you have to release this lever to do so. And now we'll talk about what your second and third row passengers are going to find. The manual shades are here. They can be put in place, the privacy shades on each door. You can see how easy that is to deal with. Plenty of room with the armrest, and it is nice and comfortable. cup holders right here, a couple of different sizes, and the bottle holder slash door bin down there. We'll also find the rear seat pockets. Now, one thing I wanted to show you is the dramatic difference between the seat positions that are available here. You can see that the seat position over there on the driver's side is way forward. I don't think anybody's going to sit like that, but it is nice to know that that is available. And you can push this button or this button to get these seats up and out of the way. And I like that they go all the way forward, they get out of the way and make it very easy to hop right into the back seat. And you'll find the rear sunroof that is much larger than that front sunroof. And there are shades, a manual shade for the sunroof in the front and a power shade back here for this rear sunroof if it gets to be a little bit too warm. And I like the positioning of the air conditioning vents right up here in the roof line. Very easy to take advantage of the airflow for your passengers back here. That's always a good thing. And a USB power outlet right there. Heated seats for your third row passengers. And these buttons control the recline of these rear seats. Let's go over here to the driver's side and I'll give you the best view that I can of how reclined these seats are. Now, they are far back, but you can change that position quite a bit if you're sitting in the third row. Also, a couple of cup holders. Now, you can see how much leg space there is. The seat over here on the passenger side is likely in a little bit more conventional, more realistic, we'll say, position. It's not all the way forward. It's also not all the way back. If it were all the way back, it would be a little bit tight back here. And getting out of the back seat is very easy. Push that button right there. And in case anybody in the comment section says, why didn't you show us what it looks like with the seats all the way back? I know you didn't watch the whole video. That was a test for you. Some of you passed and some of you didn't. But I did move the seat all the way back, and you can see if you recline the seats back, it's actually pretty comfortable. I don't know how long I could ride with my legs in this position. I'd want to stretch out a little bit more than I can back here. So depending on your height, you may want to choose the second row or call shotgun. If you wanted to see the shade for the sunroof here in the rear seating area, there it is. And I also brought the shade forward for the front sunroof. And we'll have the command center here for your third zone of climate control. You can turn on the ventilated middle seats or the heated middle seats. Now, those third row are only going to be heated, but nice to know what's here. And you can see what we have as far as our connectivity goes. A 12-volt power outlet and another power outlet right here. And you will have USB ports. They're just located in a little bit of a different position on the seat backs right there. And how about the armrests? When you fold the armrest down, there's the angle you start with. You have to pull that up. I don't know if you can hear that clicking sound, but it's the adjustment that allows your passengers to determine where that's going to be. And so you can see that it's a little bit short for me. I'd rather have that a little bit further forward, maybe out to about right here. That's a little short for me, but maybe not for everybody else. But just to give you an idea of what's here, we're also going to have those same air conditioning vents as we saw in the rear, and a lot more space here, but that is going to be dependent on where the front seats are located. But you definitely feel more spacious here, a lot more spacious place in the second row compared to the third row. And we'll have a little bit more space with the armrest and definitely with the door bin for the front doors. But something a lot of people ask about, I like to make sure I cover this, are the seat controls for the passenger seat. It is adjustable. You can adjust the position back and forth. You can adjust the seat back, and it will raise and lower. So if that's a big deal for you for the passenger seat, this is definitely a good option. You're also going to have lumbar support control right there. You'll also find the pass-through that offers additional space right here, in addition to a 12-volt power outlet and another USB. And I'll reach over and push the button to start everything up, and you can see the animation that takes place on the driver's display, which I think looks very nice. But you might be wondering, Tom, what do I have to pay to see that in person and actually own it? At Mike Morgan Hyundai, it's $50,435. One thing I didn't talk about here on the passenger side is the glove box. It's there, might as well show it to you. And our upper console, just to show you what's here. Likely no surprises where that's concerned. This is the button for controlling your power shade, and this is the button for controlling this front sunroof. Even though it does have a manual shade, this portion will tilt and slide open. Over here on the driver's side door, we're going to find seat memory, 2 different settings for the driver. There's the controls for your power side view mirrors. Lock and unlock, and you control all 4 windows and lock all 4 windows right there. Depending on what you need to do, you can see where your power parking brake is, and there's that option I told you about for using the button to open and close your power tailgate back there, traction control, and there is a release right there that allows you to adjust the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. Over here on the left-hand side, you can control everything with your headlights, or you can set that to auto if you want to, and then you don't have to worry about it. But you can't set your blinkers to auto, so you better learn how to use those. And the reason I like using those, especially here, is because depending on which one you turn on, which side you turn on, you can see what's going on in your blind spot. Very nice feature as far as that goes. I'd like to see more vehicles that have that. There are others out there that do, but I think it should be on more vehicles than there are right now. And there are the paddle shifters to work your way back and forth through your 8-speed automatic transmission, and everything here for your front and rear window wipers. I do like the look of the driver's display. It definitely looks nice and modern. And you can go through a few different settings here. Obviously, you have your cruise control and all of that right there, depending on what you need to do, what you need to see. There's definitely a lot going on here, but you don't necessarily need me to show you all of it. Some of it you can go through and just figure out. All I'm doing is toggling through right here with different information that I may want to know about. A really simple system, but it looks really nice. But just because it looks nice doesn't mean that it's complicated. And we'll move over here to the center screen, because the center screen definitely has a lot to talk about, but again, not complicated. You have map right here, so you know you have your built-in navigation. A lot of people ask about that. Depending on what they want to see, they can scroll through right here. You can see some of those options as far as that goes, and we can go back home right here, and you'll see that that goes back to taking up the entirety of the screen. I do like that, instead of having maybe this little section cut off with whatever's over there. We do see that in some vehicles. And you can wirelessly pair your smartphone. All of those great things are going to be here. Valet mode, Hyundai Pay is right there. Passenger talk. If you need to talk to your passengers, you can do that. That's a very interesting thing if you need to get everybody's attention. But we're going to turn that off for now. And we're going to work our way back over here to some of the other features that you can see, just to show you what's here. Now, if we go into settings or set up, it's going to be right here. You can also see what's here. Navigation, sound, it's all here. Device connections, if you need to change that, you can do that. Very easy to deal with. Screen layout, you can do the same thing. And by the way, you might have heard I needed to hit end right there for passenger talk. I don't know if that was showing up in the video or not, but just a little goof up there. But you might have caught that and wondered what that was all about. Yep, forgot to end that, but you do have to do that in case you were curious. But you can go in here to all of your different features and functionality as far as what's in settings. We're not going to cover everything here, but just to give you a quick idea of some of the highlights here, you have vehicle. And I like that it's very easy to know what's here as far as vehicle settings. The graphics are nice. It's pretty easy to figure out where you need to go. And you do have a head-up display. I don't know how well that's showing up on the screen because it's so bright outside today, but you can see that you have your display control right here. If you want to adjust the height and rotation, you can do that. We can also change the brightness. And we can also go here to our content selection. Depending on what you want to see or don't want to see, you can change what is displayed right there. But that's not all you can do. You can go into your cluster, as you can see right here, and make changes where that is concerned, your theme selection. So if you don't like what's there, you can change to different themes, as you can see. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what's there. So let's go through. This is going to be Classic A, Classic B, and I probably don't need to tell you what this one is. But if you don't know, it's Classic C. But that's not it. One other thing that's here, and I don't know how well I can show this because of how bright it is outside, but I'm going to try my best to show you the ambient lighting. I don't know that I can get into a dark enough atmosphere to do that, but you can see that it's here. So here's what we have. let's go into that. I'll select that, and you can see there are not only selections for color, but also for brightness. So if it's not bright enough for you, you can select all the way up to that max of 10, several different color options to choose from, and you can see where it is on the screen right there. We'll see if we can get into a place later on and maybe give you a better view. But there are the custom colors. Depending on what you want to see, we can change that to very, very nice colors, very bright, or you can actually dim that a little bit if you want to as well. And you can see that if you want to turn on your one-touch turn signal, you can do that. And all that means, if you're not aware of that, all you're doing is doing that. So if you're curious about that. And something that I like here is you can go with 3, 5, or 7 flashes. And if for some reason you don't like that feature, you can also turn that off. And we'll also have our camera views here. There's actually quite a few different cameras. I'll show you what's going on with your rear view camera. You also have your overhead camera right there, the 360-degree view, and you can zoom in on that a little bit depending on what you need to do to show you the ambient lighting. I don't know that I can get into a dark enough atmosphere to do that, but you can see that it's here. So here's what we have. Let's go into that. I'll select that, and you can see there are not only selections for color, but also for brightness. So if it's not bright enough for you, you can select all the way up to that max of 10, several different color options to choose from, and you can see where it is on the screen right there. We'll see if we can get into a place later on and maybe give you a better view. But there are the custom colors. Depending on what you want to see, we can change that to very, very nice colors, very bright, or you can actually dim that a little bit if you want to as well. And you can see that if you want to turn on your one-touch turn signal, you can do that. And all that means, if you're not aware of that, all you're doing is doing that. So if you're curious about that. And something that I like here is you can go with 3, 5, or 7 flashes. And if for some reason you don't like that feature, you can also turn that off. And we'll also have our camera views here. There's actually quite a few different cameras. I'll show you what's going on with your rear view camera. You also have your overhead camera right there, the 360-degree view, and you can zoom in on that a little bit depending on what you need to do. You don't have to go into reverse to turn your cameras on. You can push the camera button right there, and there are our camera views. You can see the front view camera right there. And we'll take a look at some of the additional views depending on what you need to see. You can see the overhead view as well. The surround view is here. Depending on where you need to see, you can actually do quite a bit with that depending on what your situation is and what is around you. Just to give you a quick idea of what's there. Now, you do have some one-touch buttons down here. You can see what those are. You have your volume button for the radio, turning that on and off, and you can change the station or whatever you're listening to there. Dual zone climate control here in the front. As you can see, you can sync those two sides together. Now here's something that I know some people don't like so much, the push button shifter. Tell me what you think about that. Some like it, some don't. Reverse neutral drive. There's how you go back into park. Your auto hold mode is right here, and your drive mode selector is also going to be here. So let's run through our drive modes. There's comfort. You're going to have sport, eco, and smart. If you're curious about that, now you know. And everything here for our heated seats, ventilated seats for the driver and passenger, and the heated steering wheel. And if you want to conceal everything away right here, you can. There's your cup holders and your wireless charging pad. And you might wonder about the cup holders. Well, it's not just that you put a cup right here and hope it doesn't fall over when you're driving down the road. You can push that button, and you can push that button, and the cup holders are then in place, and you can move those back into place if you want to do that. And you'll find the center console right here with plenty of space. This tray is removable, by the way, and you can see what is within that area. And thankfully, the camera picks up the ambient lighting quite nicely, so you can see where that's located here in the front seat area, and it actually does extend into the back seat. So if you're curious about that, there's the answer to your question. And I'll give you a quick look at some of the other colors. I don't know how well they'll show up. The blues always seem to show up the best, but the purple's not doing too bad. We can go down here to custom color, and we'll change that and see what we can come up with for you, just to give you a little bit of an idea of how things look with different colors. But in person, it definitely looks a lot better than it sometimes does on camera. It just depends on the color that I'm using. But that will give you a little bit of an idea as to the ambient lighting and how it looks. And how about driving the Palisade? Like I said earlier, very easy to see out of, but as I mentioned, you have quite a few different features that make that even easier to deal with, because you have your blind spot monitoring built into your side view mirrors, and you also have the cameras that are built into your side view mirrors. When you turn your blinkers on, you can see what's in your blind spot on the driver and passenger side. Very nice to have as far as that goes. And this driver's seat is not only very comfortable, but obviously extremely adjustable. So depending on who you are, whether you're over 6 feet or maybe 5 feet or a little below, you can adjust not only the driver's seat, but also the steering wheel to make sure that you are in just the right position, nice and comfortable, easy to deal with. And the technology is easy to learn. Everything is easy to get to. You have a very easily manageable brake and gas pedal. Not a big surprise where that's concerned, but I know some vehicles you hop into, the brake pedal can either be a little bit on the soft side or maybe aggressive, depending on what you're used to, or it could just be the vehicle that you're driving on a particular test drive. But not a problem where this is concerned. And you have so many great options as far as different things that you can add, that depending on the trim level you have and what you might want. Obviously front wheel drive or all wheel drive available for those of you that want either one for whatever reason that might be. And either way, I don't feel cramped here. That's always a good thing to experience in any vehicle. Plenty of room left. I'm 5'10" if you're curious, so I'm really more average height, not over 6 feet tall and definitely not below 5 feet tall. But one way or another, I have to say the Palisade definitely gets the job done. It just depends on what your situation is and what your needs and desires are. One more thing I did want to tell you about that I forgot to mention earlier. Hear that sound? You have front and rear parking sensors. And there it is, the 2025 Hyundai Palisade Limited. Is it the better mid-size 3-row SUV option? It's definitely one of the best out there in my opinion, but what do you think about it? Tell me what your thoughts are down in the comments section. I'm curious to know. I'd like to say a special thanks to my friends at Mike Morgan Hyundai for loaning me this Palisade for the day so I could tell you all about it. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That's very helpful to me. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, and make sure to share this video, if you would please, on your timelines on social media so other people can see it. If you'd like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.